So let's talk about the architecture of success. I'm not talking about the kind you're born with, but the kind you actually build, one choice, one mindset at a time. We're going to break down what really separates the exceptional from the average. It's a question that can kind of keep you up at night, right? You see it everywhere, in business, in sports, in life. Why do some people just seem to break through that invisible ceiling, while most of us get stuck? Well, it's a pattern, and today we are decoding it. I'm going to be pretty direct here because the reality of it doesn't pull any punches. The truth behind this whole pattern is actually simple, it's powerful, and for a lot of people, it's a little hard to swallow. And there it is. That's the core idea. Success isn't some lottery ticket that gets handed out to a talented few. It is a choice. It's a daily decision to either step into discomfort for the sake of growth or to stay right where it's safe. So let's break down what that choice actually looks like in practice. First up is the biggest roadblock of all. It's that constant battle between our fear and our will to actually do something. And how you navigate this one thing, well, it pretty much defines your entire trajectory. Look, the default setting for most of us is safety. We're wired to avoid risk, to avoid judgment, and to avoid the sting of failure. And it feels like a really smart survival strategy, but it's actually a trap. It's this comfortable bubble that absolutely guarantees you stay exactly where you are. This is the script that just runs on a loop in our heads, right? What if I fail, and what will people think? Just notice how both of those questions are completely rooted in fear. Fear of personal failure and fear of what other people think. These two questions have probably killed more dreams than anything else in the world. And this is where you see this incredible shift in perspective. The successful mindset doesn't get rid of fear. It just fears something completely different. It fears stagnation. It fears regret. The pain of never knowing what could have been becomes so much bigger than the fear of actually failing. Okay, on to our second point. This is all about what fuels your actions. What gets you started, and maybe more importantly, what keeps you going? Is it some fleeting feeling, or is it a system you can't break? We've all done this, right? We wait for that perfect moment, that jolt of inspiration before we finally get started. The problem is, motivation is tied to our emotions. It's like a sugar rush. It feels amazing for a minute, but it's totally unreliable and it never ever lasts. If you rely on it, you only work when you feel like it. And this is the alternative. Discipline is the engine. It's the system that just runs in the background, rain or shine. It's all about building habits that let you bypass the need to constantly make a decision. You just show up, you do the work, especially when you don't want to. That's the whole game. All right, number 3. This one's about what happens when things, and they will, go wrong. Do you point the finger out at the world, or do you look in the mirror for the solution? You can hear this kind of thinking everywhere. I just don't have the resources. My luck is so bad. The timing is wrong. This is the sound of external blame. It's like a shield for your ego, putting the reason for failure on things you can't control. And yeah, some of it might be a little true, but focusing on it makes you a passenger in your own life. Now look at this, because this is probably the most powerful pivot you can make. The shift isn't about fault at all. It's about ownership. It's my responsibility doesn't mean, oh, it's my fault. It means I am responsible for how I respond to this. And that right there is the moment you take back control. Now, let's circle back to that main idea we started with, because really, it's the core of everything. It's this constant tug of war between staying comfortable and actually pushing for growth. Ah, the comfort zone. It's that cozy, familiar place where there's no challenge, no risk. It feels good. It feels safe. But here's the problem. Nothing grows there. It's basically a beautifully decorated cage where your skills just fade away and your world gets smaller and smaller. This is such a critical thing to get. Successful people don't necessarily love being uncomfortable, but they understand its purpose. They've learned to recognize that feeling of being stretched, of being a little out of their depth, not as a warning sign to run away, but as proof that growth is actually happening. Our fifth point here is all about our relationship with time. In a world that promises instant everything, the real question becomes, are you playing the short game or are you playing the long game? We're just wired to want immediate rewards. So when a goal that really matters takes weeks or months or even years, and the progress just feels painfully slow, it's so easy to get discouraged and just quit. And honestly, this is where most journeys end. But here's the secret. You have to accept this simple truth. Success is not one big event, it's a process. It's about compounding your effort day after day. It's having the patience to plant a seed and take care of it long before you ever see a tree. You have to trust that process. Okay, for our final point, let's look at how we relate to the world around us. Are you just following the herd, or are you brave enough to carve your own path? Following the crowd feels safe, doesn't it? It's a survival instinct. You take the well-traveled career path, you follow the popular trends. The logic is pretty simple. If everybody's doing it, it must be the right thing to do. But that logic, by its very definition, can only lead you to an average destination. Because real breakthroughs, genuine innovation, that extraordinary level of success, it almost always comes from a place of originality. It's about having the courage to question the assumptions that everyone else just accepts and trying something new, even if nobody gets it at first. So when you put all of these pieces together, fear, discipline, ownership, growth, patience, and originality, you arrive at the final truth. It all boils down to one fundamental choice that you have to make every single day. And this illustrates it perfectly. These are the two timelines for your life. The average path is choosing what's easy now, procrastinating, playing it safe, avoiding all the risks. It feels good today, but that ease compounds into a future that's hard and full of regret. The successful path, it's the exact opposite. You choose the hard things now, the discipline, the discomfort, the learning. It's tough today, but it compounds into a future of freedom and fulfillment. So in the end, it all comes down to this. This isn't a judgment, it's a challenge. Because your future isn't decided by your talent or your luck. It's decided by the choices you're making right now. The only real question left is, which path are you going to choose?